Good evening, my friends. Tonight, I am not here to inspire you with emotion. I am not here to persuade you with ideas. And I am not here to offer hope as a temporary comfort. Tonight, I am here to tell you the truth, a truth so precise, so unyielding, that once it is seen, your life cannot be approached the same way again. Your states will determine your life, not your circumstances, not your upbringing, not your environment, not even your thoughts in isolation. Your states, because long before life becomes an event, it is first a position of consciousness. And whatever position you occupy inwardly will, without exception, become the world you live in. Most people spend their lives trying to change conditions while remaining loyal to the inner state that created those conditions. They ask for new outcomes while returning again and again to the same emotional posture, the same inner dialogue, the same identity. And life, being lawful, complies, not with what they ask for, but with what they are. This is the part few are taught clearly. You do not live in a world that reacts to your wishes. You live in a world that reflects your state. A state is not a mood. It is not a fleeting emotion. It is not a passing thought. A state is a residence. It is where you habitually return, when nothing is happening, when no one is watching, when the mind is unoccupied. It is the place you call me. It is that too, and Scripture has always been exact about this. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart is not emotion. It is subconscious identity, not what you say you want, not what you claim to believe, but what you assume to be true about yourself and life. This is why two people can face the same situation and live completely different lives. One experiences opportunity. The other experiences threat. One grows stronger. The other becomes resentful. The event is neutral. The state is decisive. Your life is not happening to you. It is happening through you. And this is where responsibility returns to its rightful place, not as blame, but as power. When you understand that your state determines your life, you stop fighting symptoms and begin addressing cause. You stop asking, how do I change this situation? And begin asking, from what state am I living? Because states are creative. They shape perception. They govern interpretation. They organize behavior. They instruct the nervous system. They condition expectation. And expectation is magnetic. This is why the same patterns repeat for years. Even when people swear they are trying to change, they change actions. They change strategies. They change environments. But they return to the same state. And the state rebuilds the same life. Neville Goddard called this living in the end. But what he was truly pointing to was not an outcome. It was an identity. The end is not the thing you want. The end is the state you would occupy. If that thing were already true, and that state, once occupied consistently, must express itself, not symbolically, not metaphorically, structurally. This is why Jesus never worked on appearances. He never tried to persuade circumstances. He never negotiated with conditions. He spoke from authority. Rise, stretch forth thy hand. It is finished. These were not requests. They were conclusions. And a conclusion held without contradiction is a state. States do not argue with reality. Reality rearranges itself around them. This is why desperation delays manifestation. Desperation is a state that assumes lack. No matter how spiritual the language, no matter how beautiful the affirmation, if the state beneath it is need, life responds with absence. The law is not emotional. It is exact. It does not respond to words. It responds to residence. Where do you live inwardly? Do you live in expectation of disappointment? Do you live in vigilance and defense? Do you live in quiet trust? Do you live in resentment? Do you live in confidence? Whatever that answer is, that is your life, expressing faithfully. This is why self-observation is more powerful than self-improvement. Improvement tries to add. Observation reveals. And once revealed, choice returns. You are not asked to fight a state. You are not asked to suppress it. You are not asked to judge it. You are asked to relocate. States are locations of consciousness, and consciousness can move. This is the great secret hidden behind every spiritual teaching and every scientific discovery of conditioning and neuroplasticity. The brain rewires itself according to repeated states. Scripture calls this renewal of the mind. Science calls it neural restructuring. same process, same law. What you repeatedly feel as true becomes structurally embedded, and what is embedded must express. This is why your character is inseparable from your manifestations. A fearful state produces fearful behavior. A secure state produces generosity. A resentful state produces conflict. A peaceful state produces clarity. You do not become better by trying harder. You become better by occupying a higher state. When the state changes, behavior follows automatically. This is why morality without consciousness fails. It asks behavior to change while identity remains untouched. Identity always wins. So tonight, hear this clearly. You are not here to manage life from the outside. You are here to govern it from within. This governance does not look like control. It looks like coherence. Coherence is when thought, feeling, and identity agree. When they agree, the nervous system relaxes. When the nervous system relaxes, perception clears. When perception clears, choice becomes accurate. And accurate choice produces a different life. This is why peace is not the reward of transformation. Peace is the signal. Peace tells the subconscious, this is settled. And what is settled begins to move. God rested on the seventh day, not because creation was exhausted, but because creation was complete. Rest is completion recognized. When you rest inwardly, the law goes to work. This is why striving slows everything down. Striving implies something is missing. Missing implies lack. Lack is a state, and states create lives. So what do? You begin where all transformation begins. You notice the state you return to under pressure. You notice the tone of your inner dialogue. You notice what feels normal to you, not what you want to feel. What feels familiar. Familiarity is powerful. The subconscious does not respond to intensity. It responds to normality. This is why emotional highs fade and old patterns return. Highs are visits, states are homes. So you do not chase emotion. You cultivate residence. You ask quietly, if my life were already aligned, how would I be breathing? How would my body feel? What would be absent? Not what would be added. What would be gone? Often, what is gone is urgency. What is gone is fear. What is gone is inner argument. This absence is the state. And when you find it, you rest there. You do not force it. You return to it. Return is the practice. Each return deepens the state. Each return strengthens identity. This is discipline without strain. This is how your states begin to change your life. And one day, quietly, you realize you are no longer reacting the same way. The same situations arise, but they do not govern you. The same challenges appear, but they do not define you. This is authority. Authority is freedom from reaction, and reaction was the only thing keeping old states alive. Now you respond. Response is choice. Choice is creation. This is why manifestation and awakening are not separate paths. They are the same movement. Identity aligning with truth. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom is not a place. It is a state. When the inner government is ordered, the outer world complies. Not magically, lawfully. So let this settle. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not broken. You have simply been living from states that no longer serve you, and states can be changed gently, faithfully, without force. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to remember who you are when fear is not directing you. So remain attentive, not vigilant, attentive. Watch where you return and choose again, because your states will determine your life, not someday, now. And the moment you live from a different state, your life begins to follow, quietly, naturally, inevitably. Be still. The law is already at work. And as this truth continues to settle, another layer of clarity reveals itself. You begin to see that a state is not something you enter once and then hope to maintain forever. A state is something you return to. This is where most people misunderstand the work. They believe that once they shift, they must never feel doubt again. They believe a higher state means no fear, no reaction, no disturbance. But that belief itself creates strain. Strain is a state too, and strain cannot sustain a higher life. The truth is quieter and far more merciful. A higher state is not the absence of challenge. It is the absence of identification with challenge. You still feel emotions. You still encounter contrast. You still experience moments of uncertainty, but you no longer live there. They pass through you, not root themselves in you. This is the difference between being in a state and being touched by a state. When you were living from fear, fear felt like home. Now fear feels like weather. It comes, it goes, and you remain. This is how mastery develops, not by suppression, but by relocation. You do not eliminate lower states. You simply stop residing in them. And residence is what determines life. This is why the Bible speaks of abiding. Abide in me. Abiding is staying, remaining, dwelling, not visiting. Whatever you abide in becomes your world. So the work is not dramatic. It is devotional. A quiet devotion to returning to clarity, returning to steadiness, returning to the identity that knows. Each time you return, you are not correcting yourself. You are training consciousness. This training reshapes the nervous system. It reshapes perception. It reshapes instinct. Over time, what once required intention becomes automatic. Peace becomes normal. Confidence becomes default. Trust becomes natural. And because these states are now familiar, life begins to mirror them consistently. This is why change becomes permanent. Temporary change comes from effort. Permanent change comes from identity. Identity is the state you no longer question. You no longer wake up trying to convince yourself you are enough. You simply move as someone who does not doubt it. You no longer rehearse future problems. You respond when response is required. You no longer seek safety and control. You trust order, and trust reorganizes everything. This is where faith becomes practical. Faith is not belief without evidence. Faith is behavior that assumes alignment. You act differently when you trust. You speak differently. You listen differently. You choose differently. And these differences compound. This is how lives change. Not all at once, but unmistakably. One response at a time. One return at a time. One state at a time. This is why impatience dissolves. Impatience belonged to a state that doubted timing. But now you understand timing is not random. It is coordinated with readiness. Readiness is a state. When the state is right, the event appears. Not because you earned it, not because you forced it, but because there was finally a place for it to land. This is the compassion hidden in the law. Nothing arrives before you are able to receive it without fear. And now you are learning to receive, not with grasping hands, but with open presence. So you continue gently. You do not demand perfection from yourself. You do not judge moments of old thinking. You simply notice and return. Return to calm. Return to coherence. Return to the state that feels whole. And as you do, you will notice something subtle but profound. Life feels less personal, not distant, but lighter. You stop interpreting everything as a reflection of worth. You stop taking every event as a verdict on who you are. You realize events are movements, not meanings. States give meaning, and you are choosing your state. This realization frees you. You become more forgiving, not because you try, but because blame no longer has a home. You become more loving, not because you force it, but because fear no longer drives you. This is how becoming a better person happens naturally, not by moral effort, but by state elevation. A higher state cannot express cruelty. A settled state cannot sustain resentment. A peaceful state cannot manufacture conflict. So your life changes because you change, not by becoming someone else, but by returning to who you were before fear taught you to contract. This is awakening, not an event, a relocation. And now you are already there more often than not. So remain attentive, not tense, not vigilant. Attentive, notice where you are living from. And when you notice you have drifted, return. Return without judgment. Return without urgency. Because every return strengthens the new state. And every strengthened state reshapes your life. Quietly, naturally, faithfully, your states will determine your life. And now you know how to choose them. And as you continue to live from this awareness, something profoundly stabilizing takes root. You no longer feel the need to fix yourself. Fixing implied that something essential was broken, but nothing essential ever was. What was happening was simpler. You were living from states that were formed in reaction, not in truth. Those states once protected you. They once made sense. They once helped you survive. But survival is not creation. And now you are no longer surviving life. You are participating in it. This is why compassion for yourself deepens. You stop condemning old reactions. You stop shaming past versions of yourself. You understand that every state you once lived in was doing the best it could with the awareness it had. Awareness has expanded now, and expansion is irreversible. You cannot unknow what you now see. You see that every moment gives you a choice of residence, not a choice of emotion, but a choice of where you stand inwardly. Do I stand in reaction, or do I stand in response? Do I stand in fear, or do I stand in trust? Do I stand in contraction, or do I stand in openness? These choices are quiet. They do not announce themselves, but they shape everything. This is why your days begin to feel different. Not because circumstances change immediately, but because you meet them differently. You listen without preparing defense. You speak without rehearsing fear. You pause without guilt. Pausing is powerful. Pausing breaks the reflex of old states. In the pause, choice returns. And where there is choice, there is creation. This is how you stop repeating the past without fighting it. You simply stop standing where it was created. This is why forgiveness becomes natural. Forgiveness is not an act of will. It is the byproduct of no longer living in the state that was wounded. When you move states, the wound loses its address. It has nowhere to send its message. And without resistance, it dissolves. This is why peace deepens without effort. Peace is not achieved. Peace is revealed. When the state that generated conflict is released, this release does not feel dramatic. It feels relieving, like setting down something heavy you did not realize you were carrying. As this happens, you notice that life feels less personal and more purposeful. Events no longer feel like judgments. They feel like movements. Movements inviting you to remain steady. Movements testing residence. Movements clarifying alignment. You are not punished by life. You are trained by it. Every moment, ask the same gentle question. From where will you respond? And each time you answer from a higher state, that state strengthens. This is how mastery is built. Not through intensity, not through struggle, through consistency. Consistency of return. Return to clarity when confusion appears. Return to calm when urgency arises. Return to trust when fear whispers. This returning is not work. It is devotion. A devotion to truth over habit. A devotion to awareness over reaction. And devotion reshapes identity. Identity reshapes life. This is why your future begins to feel different now. Not specific, not scripted, but safe. Safe because you trust yourself to meet whatever comes from a grounded state. Safety was never about controlling outcomes. It was about knowing where you stand. Now, you know, and knowing steadies everything. You no longer fear making mistakes. Mistakes belong to action. You are living from being. Being can adjust endlessly. This flexibility is strength. You can adapt without losing center. You can change without collapsing identity. This is true freedom. Freedom not from responsibility, but from fear of experience. Experience no longer threatens you. It informs you, so you continue, not racing, not resisting, simply aware. You notice when you are centered. You notice when you drift. And you return again and again. Each return shortens the distance. Each return makes the higher state more familiar. Each return rewrites the pattern. Until one day, you realize you are no longer returning. You are simply living. Living from steadiness. Living from clarity. Living from trust. This is when life begins to reflect you effortlessly. Not because you demand it, but because you are no longer divided. Your states are no longer accidental. They are chosen. And because they are chosen, your life follows. Quietly, naturally, faithfully. Remain here. This is the place where your life is shaped. And as you continue from here, something almost imperceptible but deeply decisive takes place. You stop trying to hold a higher state. You realize the higher state is what remains. When effort steps aside, effort was never the doorway. Effort was the tension created by misunderstanding. Now that misunderstanding has softened. You see clearly that a state is not something you grip. It is something you agree with. Agreement is quiet. Agreement does not strain. Agreement does not repeat itself. Agreement simply rests. This is why your inner life feels less crowded. There is less commentary, less rehearsal, less justification. Not because you have disciplined the mind, but because the mind is no longer defending a fragile identity. Fragility belonged to a state that felt threatened by life. Now, identity feels anchored not in outcomes, but in awareness. This anchoring changes how you experience uncertainty. Uncertainty no longer signals danger. It signals openness. Openness for life to move in ways you could not plan. Openness for intelligence beyond habit to operate. You are no longer afraid of what you cannot predict because you trust where you are standing. This trust is not naive. It is structural. It comes from knowing that whatever arises, you will meet it from a centered state. This is why anxiety loosens its grip. Anxiety required the belief that you were at the mercy of circumstances. Now, you know you are at the center of response. Response is where power lives. Reaction was automatic. Response is chosen, and choice is creation. So you begin to notice how often you now choose differently, not dramatically, not heroically, simply differently. You pause where you once rushed. You listen where you once defended. You soften where you once resisted. Each small shift reinforces the new state, and the new state reinforces a new life. This is how transformation sustains itself, not through vigilance, but through alignment. Alignment feels like ease. Ease does not mean absence of challenge. It means absence of inner war. And inner war was exhausting you more than any external difficulty ever did. Now, that energy is returned to you. You feel it as clarity, as presence, as a subtle joy that does not depend on events. Joy not as excitement, but as rightness. Rightness is the signal that state and truth agree. This is why the teachings of Christ always pointed inward. The truth shall set you free. Truth here is not information. It is alignment with reality. Reality begins in consciousness. And consciousness, once aligned, does not need force to express itself. It expresses naturally. So your life continues to shift, not always visibly at first, but unmistakably over time. Relationships feel cleaner. Decisions feel simpler. Your sense of self feels less brittle. You are not trying to be someone better. You are no longer resisting who you are. Resistance was the friction. Without it, movement is smooth. This is why you stop replaying old stories. Stories belong to states that needed justification. Now, you live more in direct experience. What is happening now is enough to respond to. You no longer carry yesterday into today as a lens. You meet today as it is. This presence is healing, not emotionally only, but physiologically. The body feels safer. The nervous system feels less alert. The mind feels less hurried. Safety was never about control. It was about coherence. Now, coherence is established. So you continue gently, not watching yourself anxiously, not measuring progress, simply noticing where you are standing and choosing again when needed. This is not a task. It is a way of living. And as it becomes your way of living, life continues to rearrange itself accordingly. Not because you demand it, but because states always determine outcomes. You have learned the law not as theory, but as experience. And experience does not need repetition to convince. It knows. So remain where you are now, in attentiveness, in ease, in quiet authority. Your states are no longer accidental. They are lived deliberately. And because of that, your life is no longer happening by chance. It is unfolding by alignment. This is the work, and it is already working. And as this alignment continues to mature, something quietly sacred reveals itself. You begin to sense that life is no longer something you must manage. It is something you participate in consciously. Management belongs to fear. Participation belongs to trust. Trust does not mean everything feels easy. It means nothing feels meaningless. Even difficulty now arrives with a different quality. It does not feel punitive. It feels instructive, not teaching through pain, but through contrast. Contrast shows you where a state is still forming, where awareness is being invited to settle more deeply, where identity is being refined, and you no longer resist this refinement. Resistance once felt necessary to survive. Now, It feels unnecessary to live. So you soften. You soften your inner speech. You soften your reactions. You soften your expectations of yourself. This softness is not weakness. It is strength without armor. Armor was required when you believed life was against you. Now you know life is responding to you. This realization changes everything. You no longer brace yourself before conversations. You no longer rehearse defense before expression. You no longer shrink or inflate to feel safe. Safety is internal now. And from this internal safety, authenticity emerges. You begin to speak more truthfully, not aggressively, not performatively, truthfully. Truth does not need volume. It needs grounding. Grounding comes from state. This is why your words carry more weight now. Not because they are clever, but because they are congruent. Congruence is when inner and outer agree. People feel it. They may not name it, but they sense it. They respond differently, not because you changed them, but because you stopped contradicting yourself. Contradiction created static. Static, distorted connection. Now, connection feels clearer. This clarity extends inward as well. You begin to trust your own perception again. You no longer second-guess every impulse. You no longer doubt every feeling. You discern. Discernment is calm intelligence. It does not rush. It does not panic. It does not cling. It waits until clarity emerges. And clarity always emerges. When the state is settled, this is why decisions feel cleaner now. You choose without inner argument. You move without dragging the past behind you. You stop needing consensus from the world. You trust your center. Trusting your center does not isolate you. It actually connects you more deeply because you are no longer interacting from need. Need distorted connection. Wholeness purifies it. This is why relationships begin to change. Some deepen, some soften, some fall away naturally, not through conflict, but through resonance. Resonance aligns what belongs together and releases what does not. You no longer force belonging. You allow alignment. This allowance frees energy. Energy that once went into proving, defending, seeking, now becomes available for creativity. You feel inspired again, not driven. Inspired. Inspiration is life moving through a clear channel, and you are becoming that channel. This is what it means to live from a chosen state. Not rigidly, not dogmatically, but faithfully. Faithfulness here is not belief. It is return. Return to presence. Return to calm. Return to truth. Every return strengthens the state. And as the state strengthens, your life reflects it more consistently. This is not overnight change. It is inevitable change. Inevitable because the cause has shifted. You are no longer at the mercy of unconscious patterns. You are aware of where you stand. And awareness is the beginning of freedom. So you continue, not searching, not striving, living. Living from a place that feels stable, honest, and quietly powerful. This is not the end of the journey. It is the end of confusion about who is walking it. Your states are no longer accidental. They are inhabited, and because they are inhabited, your life unfolds with meaning. Remain here. This is where life listens to you. This is where creation begins. And now, we allow this to settle into silence. Not because the movement has ended, but because it no longer needs guidance. You have arrived at the place where effort gives way to order, where striving dissolves into clarity, where life no longer feels like something you must correct. Nothing more is required of you. You do not need to remember every word spoken here. You do not need to hold a concept in mind. You do not need to repeat a practice. What matters has already been received at the level where change is permanent. From here on, your life will continue to respond to where you stand inwardly, not to what you hope, not to what you fear, but to what you inhabit. And you now know how to choose that place. When the world grows loud, you will return to steadiness. When uncertainty appears, you will return to trust. When old habits surface, you will return without judgment. Return is enough. Each return deepens alignment. Each return strengthens the state. Each return shapes the life that follows. You are no longer reacting unconsciously. You are responding deliberately. And that is freedom. Freedom not from circumstance, but from being ruled by circumstance. So let life move now. Let days unfold in their natural rhythm. Let events arrange themselves without your interference. Let results appear without demand. You are no longer standing outside your life, waiting for it to change. You are standing within it, aware, present, and aligned. This is where creation listens. This is where truth speaks. This is where your life is formed. Remain here, quietly, faithfully, at ease. Your states will determine your life, and now you are choosing them. Be still for a moment. Let your shoulders relax. Let your breath slow down. For in this stillness, something greater begins to move. You are not here by accident. You are here because your spirit has been asking to remember the truth that prosperity is not something to chase, but something to become aware of. You were never meant to struggle endlessly for what is already yours. You were never meant to beg life for abundance. You were meant to awaken to the divine law that governs all creation, the law that says, as within, so without. Everything you see in your world is an echo of your inner assumption. And the moment you shift the inner state, the outer world must follow. So today, I am not here to teach you how to get money. I am here to remind you how to embody abundance. Because when you live in the consciousness of I am rich, life begins to reflect it. When you feel the reality of wealth within your imagination, that feeling becomes magnetic. The world cannot resist the soul that knows its own value. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe deeply and gently repeat to yourself, I am rich, I am abundant, I am provided for. Feel the weight of those words settle into your being. You are not pretending. You are remembering, because abundance was never something you needed to earn. It was written into your design. It is the natural expression of divine life moving through you. Look around you. Every leaf on every tree, every drop of water, every grain of sand, all of it is a testament to the infinite supply of God. Nature never fears running out. The ocean never wonders if it has enough waves. The sun never questions whether it will shine tomorrow. You were created in that same image. Abundance is your birthright. Prosperity is your natural state. And wealth, true wealth, is not measured in what you possess, but in how deeply you know that you are one with the source of all supply. In Scripture it is written, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. That means lack is an illusion. The I am within you, the divine presence, already contains everything you could ever need. And when you identify with that presence, you begin to live in divine provision. When you say, I am rich, you are not talking about dollars or coins. You are declaring your unity with the inexhaustible substance of life itself. That statement, I am rich, is not wishful thinking. It is creative law. The same law that brought the stars into being. When God said, let there be light, he was declaring, I am light. And from that declaration, creation unfolded. When you declare, I am rich, the same power speaks through you. You are not commanding the world, you are commanding consciousness. And consciousness governs the world. Now, feel these words, not just in your mind, but in your entire body. Let them sink into your heart. I am abundant. I am successful. I am wealthy in every form. Money flows to me easily. Opportunities find me naturally. Everything I touch prospers because I carry the vibration of divine increase. Let that vibration rise. Feel your energy shift. It may begin as warmth in your chest or a lightness in your breath that is your awareness expanding. You are tuning your consciousness to the frequency of wealth. This is not about greed. This is not about chasing more. This is about aligning with the natural flow of giving and receiving that governs all of life. The ocean gives waves and receives them back. The tree gives fruit and receives nourishment through its roots. So too must you learn to give and receive without fear, without hesitation, without resistance. To give freely is to affirm that you live in an unlimited universe. To receive with gratitude is to confirm that you are worthy of the gifts already prepared for you. Wealth is not something you acquire, it is something you allow. You do not need to force money into your experience. You need only remove the mental barriers that say you cannot have it. Scarcity is a belief, not a reality. The moment you drop that belief, the flow of abundance begins. Think of electricity. It does not need to be created each time you flip a switch. It only needs to be connected. In the same way, divine abundance is already here, waiting for your connection through belief and feeling. When you think thoughts of gratitude, When you imagine yourself blessed, when you declare, I am rich, you complete that circuit. You open yourself to the supply that was always available. Now, listen carefully. You will never attract what you believe you do not deserve. This is why the first step to prosperity is not action, it is identity. You must see yourself as one with abundance before abundance can find you. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission. Stop thinking you must work harder or prove your worth. Your worth was established the moment God said, let us make man in our image. Genesis 1:26. You were created in the image of the infinite. You cannot add to that. You can only awaken to it. So now, right here, in this moment, let that realization fill you completely. I am rich because I am one with God. I am abundant because I am consciousness itself. I am wealthy because I live in the flow of divine creation. Let it be real for you, not in the future, not someday, but now, because now is the only place abundance can exist. Wealth is not a future event, it is a present awareness. If you keep imagining yourself as someone who is becoming rich, you will forever stay in the process of becoming. But if you assume the feeling of already being rich, if you feel it in your bones, see it in your imagination, rest in it as truth, then life must mirror that state. This is divine law. You cannot plant the seed of I am without harvesting its fruit. So speak your wealth as though it were already done, because it is. I am financially free. Money is drawn to me effortlessly. I live in divine overflow. My work is valuable and richly rewarded. Every day I am guided to prosperity. These are not affirmations to convince the world, they are declarations to remind yourself who you truly are. Every I am spoken with faith impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious, obedient and creative, brings it to pass. You do not have to figure out how. That is the work of divine intelligence. Your role is only to know that it is already done. Feel the truth of that now. I am rich. Say it until it stops being words and becomes awareness. Let it melt into your being until it feels natural as breathing, because what you feel to be true must express itself. When you hold the consciousness of wealth, ideas begin to come, doors open, people appear, inspiration strikes, and what seemed like luck is revealed to be divine orchestration. That is the beauty of this law. It works through you, not outside of you. You are not manifesting money. You are expressing abundance. You are not creating opportunities. You are recognizing them. You are not trying to force life to give. You are allowing it to reveal what it already had for you. So let these words become the rhythm of your soul. I am rich in peace. I am rich in love. I am rich in creativity. I am rich in ideas. I am rich in time. I am rich in every form of good. Wealth is not a number. It is a vibration, the vibration of knowing you are enough, and there is always more than enough. And when you live in that vibration, everything that matches it rushes to meet you. You will begin to notice divine timing, unexpected checks, opportunities, conversations that open doors, ideas that lead to expansion. This is not chance. It is law. It is the law of assumption in motion. And once you understand that your imagination is the power of creation, you realize that nothing is impossible to you. Even Jesus, when he multiplied the loaves and fishes, was not performing a miracle of matter. He was demonstrating the abundance of consciousness. He assumed supply where others saw lack, and his assumption became law. According to your faith, be it unto you. Matthew 9:29. Faith is not hoping that God will provide, it is knowing that God is provision. So have faith not in outcomes, but in identity. Know that because you are one with the infinite, lack can never touch you again. When you know this, money becomes your servant, not your master. It flows to you easily because you no longer chase it. It becomes the natural expression of the abundance you already are. You live in a state of quiet confidence, unbothered by circumstances, unshaken by appearances, because you understand that everything seen is temporary, but the unseen, the consciousness within you, is eternal. And that unseen power is wealth itself. So from this day forward, live not in pursuit of abundance, but in awareness of it. Speak these words each morning. I am rich. I am abundant. I am one with divine supply. Feel them as you go about your day. Let them shape your posture, your energy, your outlook. When you spend, do so with gratitude, not fear. When you give, do so with joy, not hesitation. When you receive, do so with reverence, not guilt. You are participating in the eternal flow of divine circulation, the giving and receiving of love, energy, and wealth. And that flow never ends. The more you give, the more returns to you multiplied, because you cannot outgive the infinite. You are the channel through which abundance moves. And as you bless others, you bless yourself. So let your new story begin. You are rich not because of what you have, but because of who you are. You are abundant not because of what you earn, but because of what you embody. You are wealthy not because of possessions, but because of perception. You live from the truth that the source is within you. And when you live from that truth, everything external must reflect it. Every bill becomes an opportunity to affirm, I am provided for. Every challenge becomes a reminder to say, I am greater than this. Every moment becomes an invitation to remember, I am rich. Now breathe again. Feel the peace of divine sufficiency fill your being. You have nothing to chase. You have nothing to prove. You are abundance itself. And as that truth radiates from you, the universe rearranges itself in response. It always has. It always will. So let the final word be spoken through you now. I am rich. I am abundant. I am one with the infinite supply of God. Every day, in every way, I prosper, and the world reflects the wealth I carry within. Be still and know that it is already done. You are not becoming rich. You are. And the universe, hearing your declaration, responds eternally in return. Yes, you are. It is done. And as those final words echo in the silence, it is done, you begin to feel the soft hum of divine reality beneath everything you once called ordinary. That hum is life itself, whispering through every cell of your being, reminding you that wealth is not something you build outside yourself. It is something you allow to unfold from within. Take another breath. Let it deepen. Let it anchor you. Feel how steady you have become. Feel how unshaken you are. This is what it feels like to live from the consciousness of I am rich. It isn't loud. It isn't desperate. It is quiet, magnetic, sure. It is the still, unwavering awareness that you are connected to the source of all creation. No fear of tomorrow, no clinging to the past, just faith, just knowing. You have now entered what Scripture calls the peace that passes understanding. Because true abundance does not shout, it radiates. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't demand, it assumes. You are that peace. You are that assumption made flesh. You are that radiance. In the days ahead, you will begin to notice something extraordinary. Life will start to bend around your new vibration, not through effort, but through alignment. Conversations will open unexpected doors. Old limitations will fall away like shadows at sunrise. Money will flow in directions that defy logic, because the law doesn't move by logic, it moves by faith. Faith is not wishing. Faith is the inner conviction that the unseen is already real. And now you know that it is, for you are no longer the one asking for wealth. You are the consciousness through which wealth expresses itself. You are not hoping for prosperity. You are prosperity remembering itself. You are not learning how to receive. You are realizing that you were never without. Let these words resonate within you as a living truth. I am the abundance I once prayed for. I am the wealth I once dreamed of. I am the answered prayer, walking in human form. And as that realization deepens, everything that once felt difficult becomes simple. Work becomes play. Giving becomes joy. Receiving becomes gratitude. You no longer see life as a competition. You see it as collaboration, because you have transcended the old mindset of scarcity. You no longer think there isn't enough. You know now there is only increase. And increase responds to the one who knows their own worth. So do not shrink yourself to fit other people's ideas of what is possible. Do not apologize for the prosperity that begins to surround you. Do not dim your light to make others comfortable. Your abundance is not vanity, it is testimony. When others see the light of wealth and peace in you, they are reminded of what is also within them. You do not flaunt your blessings, you magnify them in gratitude. You become the living proof of divine generosity. The world calls this luck. But luck is just the visible side of faith. Faith, sustained imagination, creates its own opportunities. its own timing, its own pathways. You no longer need to wonder when it will happen. The moment you assume the state of being rich, the when is answered. The seed has already been planted, and in divine time, it must bear fruit. So let patience be your quiet confidence. Do not dig up the soil to check if the roots are growing. Do not fear that the process has failed. Simply water it with gratitude. Thank God for what is already true in spirit, and it must appear in form. Because gratitude is the language of manifestation. When you give thanks for what you cannot yet see, you declare to the universe, I know it is already mine, and that knowing is what brings it forth. Each morning, when you rise, speak to yourself with reverence. Say aloud, I am rich in peace. I am rich in purpose. I am rich in joy. I am rich in divine provision. Let your words carry authority not from ego, but from recognition. For the I am within you is God speaking creation into being through your awareness. Every declaration you make is a prayer. Every prayer is a vibration. And every vibration shapes matter. That is the law. You have always been the author. You have always been the cause. You have always been the Word made flesh. Now, you speak no longer from need, but from completion. You do not say, I will be. You say, I am. Because to say, I am, is to claim the eternal present, the only moment creation ever happens. And when doubt tries to whisper, when the old thoughts of limitation return, do not fight them. Simply smile and remember, I have outgrown that version of me. Doubt is not a sign that you are failing. It is a sign that your old identity is dissolving. The vibration of lack cannot survive in the presence of your new awareness. So do not resist it. Let it pass. Return again to your center. Breathe and repeat softly, I am rich. I am abundance itself. I am one with the wealth of the universe. The moment you say it, the moment you feel it, the law responds. And everything unseen begins to rearrange itself to match your new declaration. Because consciousness is the only cause. Look at your hands for a moment. See how they move effortlessly, how they open and close without thought. That same effortless intelligence governs all of life. The same invisible power that animates your body, animates your finances, your opportunities, your growth. It knows exactly what to do. It knows exactly when to move. It knows exactly how to multiply. You do not command it through force. You align with it through feeling. And when you feel abundance, abundance must respond. You are standing now in the center of a living, intelligent universe that mirrors your consciousness. So live from wealth, not toward it. Act from abundance, not for it. Give from fullness, not from fear. Because what you express returns multiplied. The river never runs dry because it gives without resistance. The sun never dims because it shines without limit. And you, child of the infinite, are meant to live in that same flow. From this moment forward, speak only in the language of prosperity. When you spend, say, this money circulates back to me multiplied. When you give, say, I give freely, knowing there is always more. When you see others succeed, say, their success is my proof that abundance is real and everywhere. Every word is a seed. Every feeling is a harvest. Every thought is a creation in motion. So think richly. Feel richly. Speak richly. You are the divine economy itself. And when you lay your head to rest tonight, let your final thought be peace. Say silently to yourself, I am that I am. I am wealth in form. I am abundance in motion. I am prosperity made visible. And as you drift into sleep, let the subconscious, the great womb of creation, take that feeling and multiply it beyond your imagination. While you sleep, the law works. While you rest, creation rearranges itself to reflect your new assumption. You do not have to make it happen. You only have to know that it is already happening. You are rich not because you will be, but because you already are. You are abundant not because you earn it, but because you embody it. You are prosperous not by luck, but by divine law. And from this moment forward, lack will never again feel natural to you, because you have remembered who you are. You are not a beggar before creation. You are the creator within it. You are not separate from God. You are his expression. You are not trying to manifest abundance. You are abundance remembering itself. So stand tall, walk with grace, speak with certainty. And as you move through the world, know that every step you take leaves the footprint of divine prosperity. For heaven itself is whispering through every heartbeat, through every breath, through every word you speak. You are rich. You are whole. You are divine abundance made visible. It is done. And so it is. And now, beloved soul, rest in the knowing of what you have become. The truth no longer hides behind effort or striving. It shines through you as effortlessly as light through clear glass. You are no longer the one reaching for prosperity. You are the one through whom prosperity flows. You are no longer the one seeking abundance. You are the one who is abundance. Close your eyes once more. Feel the living rhythm of God moving through your breath. Feel the steady pulse of the universe beating in your chest. You are synchronized with divine intelligence now. You and the source are not two. There is no distance between the creator and creation. Every cell in your body is humming with the energy of increase. Every breath you take draws in divine supply. Every exhale releases gratitude back into the world. You are a walking circulation of wealth. You are the flow of divine giving and receiving, forever receiving, forever expanding. When you speak, your words are investments of energy. When you imagine, your visions are currencies of heaven. When you act in faith, your steps are deposits in the great bank of creation, and the returns are limitless. Let the words settle deep into your being. I am rich not only in money, but in peace. I am abundant, not only in possessions, but in love. I am wealthy, not only in things, but in wisdom, because true wealth cannot be counted. It must be felt. And when you feel it, when you live it, the outer world bows to match it. Every opportunity that belongs to your destiny begins to move toward you. Every door that once seemed locked opens without effort. Every resource you require begins to appear as though it were waiting for this exact moment of remembrance. This is divine timing, not by chance, but by consciousness. The outer follows the inner, and now your inner world is rich beyond measure. The scriptures say, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you." Matthew 6:33. You have found that kingdom, not in a temple, not in a church, not in a faraway heaven, but within your own awareness. The kingdom of God is the consciousness of abundance. The kingdom of God is the awareness that you are one with the source of all wealth. And when you seek that kingdom, that inner state, all these things must be added. Money, peace, love, freedom, purpose, joy. All of it flows naturally from your state of being. So from this moment on, remember, your bank account is not your supply. Your job is not your supply. The economy is not your supply. Those are only channels. Your supply is consciousness. And as long as you remain in the awareness of I am rich, I am abundant, I am free, no channel can ever run dry. If one closes, another opens, and often a better one. Because supply cannot be lost, it can only change form. You are never in lack. You are never abandoned. You are never without. You are standing in the center of infinite provision. The air you breathe, the ground beneath you, the light that guides you, all of it is evidence that the universe is already supporting your existence in perfect balance. How much more easily will it supply your needs when you align with gratitude and faith? You are not asking life for more. You are allowing yourself to see what was always there. So speak to yourself often quietly, reverently. I am the abundance of God made visible. I am wealth in form. I am the light of prosperity shining in the world. Let those words become your inner rhythm. They are not affirmations you hope will work. They are statements of eternal law. Because when you say, I am, you are speaking the divine name. And whatever follows I am becomes the word made flesh. Say, I am rich, and life begins to reorganize around that truth. Say, I am blessed, and blessings reveal themselves in ways beyond imagination. Say, I am guided, and synchronicities become the language of heaven. You have been given the greatest gift, the power to create through consciousness. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. Use it consistently. When others complain about lack, bless them silently and know the truth. There is no shortage in God. When fear tries to whisper, answer it calmly. I am safe. I am supplied. I am sustained by divine law. When doubt appears, smile and let faith speak louder. I am that I am. Because the truth always outlasts illusion. Look at your life now with gentle eyes. Every challenge was not a punishment, but a preparation. Every delay was not denial, but divine alignment. Every disappointment was pruning, making room for greater fruit. Nothing was wasted. Every moment brought you to this awareness, to this point of realization where you can finally see that abundance was never coming. It was always here. It was waiting for you to stop asking and start knowing. It was waiting for you to stop doubting and start declaring. It was waiting for you to say, I am rich, and mean it. And now you mean it. You feel it in your bones. You see it in your world. You know it in your spirit. From this day forward, you will walk with a new kind of calm, the calm of one who knows their source, the calm of one who has remembered their power, the calm of one who has seen behind the veil and realized that heaven and earth are one. You will give freely, without fear. You will receive joyfully, without guilt. You will live richly, not as performance, but as expression. Because when you prosper, you glorify God. Your abundance is not selfish, it is sacred. It is the universe expressing its fullness through you. You are not here to survive. You are here to shine. You are here to show what it looks like when divine law is lived with faith and love. You are here to remind the world that lack is a dream and abundance is reality. So let your life become a living testimony. Let your every breath say, I am rich in peace, in love, in joy, in opportunity, in wealth, in wisdom. Let your presence lift others into remembrance of their own divinity. Because when one child of God awakens, the whole world brightens. You are the proof that abundance is real. You are the manifestation of divine prosperity, walking in human form. And as you live from that truth, heaven itself rejoices. For this is the fulfillment of the promise that you may have life and have it more abundantly. Now, breathe one last time, slow, deep, complete. Feel the air fill your lungs. Feel the life of God move through you. And whisper softly, not to the world, but to your soul. I am rich. I am abundant. I am prosperity itself. I am the giver and receiver of divine increase. I am that I am. And as those words settle into your heart, the universe, vast, living, responsive, bows in acknowledgement and answers you in perfect silence. Yes, you are. Be still, for it is done. And so it is. And now rest, not in exhaustion, but in realization. For the journey you thought was about finding wealth was never about money. It was about remembering the abundance that breathes you. The search is over. The striving has ended. You have arrived at the still point where heaven meets earth, and that meeting place is you. You are the open channel through which divine prosperity flows without limit. You are the storehouse of infinite riches, the expression of eternal supply. Every idea, every inspiration, every opportunity that will ever bless your life is already woven into the fabric of your being. You no longer ask for blessings, you are the blessing. You no longer reach for peace, you radiate peace. You no longer chase abundance, you embody abundance. You have awakened to the truth that I am rich is not a goal but a state of consciousness, a living vibration that aligns you with the law of increase itself. Take a slow breath and let it fill you. Every inhale reminds you that you are already provided for. Every exhale releases the last traces of doubt. You are safe. You are seen. You are supported. The same power that hung the stars in the heavens is the same power that flows through your imagination right now, creating worlds, shifting matter, shaping destiny. And it asks for nothing but your trust. So trust that your good is already on its way. Trust that the money you need is already circulating in your direction. Trust that what is yours cannot be lost, and what leaves is only making room for greater. As you walk into the days ahead, let these truths guide your every step. You are the cause, not the effect. You are the source, not the seeker. You are the wealth you once prayed to find. Do not pray for money, speak from it. Do not chase success, live from it. Do not fear tomorrow, create from today. Every thought is like a seed, it multiplies what you plant. Every emotion is energy. Every word is an investment. So invest only in what you want multiplied. Speak only that which uplifts. Imagine only that which expands. Feel only that which aligns with your divine inheritance. Look around you now, the world is alive, shimmering with evidence of your inner state. Every vibration you send out returns multiplied. Every assumption of abundance draws its physical reflection closer. And soon, what you once called dream will be the most natural thing in your life. You will see wealth not as something you gain, but as something you express. You will move through life like a calm river, giving, receiving, overflowing, and others will see that calm in you and wonder how you live so freely. They will ask, what changed? And you will smile, not with pride, but with peace, and you will answer softly, I remembered who I am. You are not just a person manifesting wealth. You are consciousness itself, knowing its own infinite nature through the experience of prosperity. You are divine intelligence wearing human form. You are a spirit enjoying the richness of creation. Money, success, joy, love, they are all servants of the same awareness. I am that I am. You do not need to cling to them. They cannot leave you, for they are part of you. They are drawn to your vibration, sustained by your gratitude, multiplied by your faith. So let your final words tonight be spoken in full awareness of their power. Let them roll softly from your heart, not as repetition, but as revelation. I am rich in love. I am rich in peace. I am rich in purpose. I am the divine expression of limitless abundance. All that I need is already within me. All that I desire is already mine. I am that I am. And as you speak them, imagine the universe pausing, every star, every wave, every breath of wind, listening in reverence to the voice of its creator, remembering itself. And then, in that sacred stillness, creation responds, as it always has, in one eternal phrase that echoes through all time. Yes, you are. It is done. Rest in that truth. Walk in that truth. Live from that truth. For you are not a seeker of abundance. You are the abundance through which God reveals his glory to the world. And from this moment forward, everything you touch, everything you give, everything you imagine will prosper. Because now you know the secret. You are rich. You always were. You always will be. And so it is.